Jay, here's the truth. Most men don't want to hear. If the people around you still depend on you for everything, you're not leading them. You're holding them back. Because real leadership isn't about being needed. It's about building people who don't need you anymore. Hmm. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, very.
Yes. So we want to welcome you back to the Macho Ranch TOSO Experience,
Hmm.
where faith, grit, and purpose come together to build strong men, strong families, and strong communities. I'm Marlo, and I'm here with my brother Jay. Today, we're talking about something that sounds simple, but explains why a lot of men, families, organizations, and even churches struggle to grow. The title of today's conversation is Equipping versus Informing. What's the difference? And today we want to talk about this specifically from the perspective of fathers and men. Because one of the biggest responsibilities of a man is not just to provide, it's to equip the people around them. Jay, let's start simple. What's the difference between informing and equipping?
That's a good question. I think a lot of people tend to put those in the same category, uh, as if informing and equipping is the same thing.
Got
But it's two different things. Informing is giving someone just the information.
it.
And equipping is preparing someone to actually do something with that information. So informing says, here's what you should know, rather than equipping is, let me show you how to, let you try it, help you improve, uh, make sure you can do it without me. We used to have a saying in the pawn shop. It's trust but verify.
Okay, that's good. That's a
That's
good point. That's a
one
good
of
point.
the main things that we would do. Like, we have to let these people. When I say people, I mean employees. We
Mhm.
have to let them grow and see their strengths and weaknesses.
Correct.
And as someone in leadership, you have to let them. You stood there. So I don't want to say like on a leash, but they're still
Understood.
on
Makes sense. Makes
some
sense.
sort. And then you still got to go and verify what they did
Of
or
course,
what they do.
definitely.
You
Definitely.
and informing, it creates knowledge in people, um, but in order for them, I guess, to retain that knowledge, they have to put it in action. So
Right.
then it goes into equipping them. So you equip them to retain that knowledge that you just given them, and that creates capable people.
That's true. And, this is where a lot of us as men might miss it, especially, fathers. Um, Many fathers inform their kids,
Hmm.
but we may not always equip them. We may say things like, work hard, be responsible, be respectful, handle your business, be a man. That's information. That's something that we are informing them to do.
Yeah.
But equipping would be something like this, teaching them how to work, or maybe teaching them how to manage money, how to talk to people, teaching them how to apologize, how to lead, how to pray, how to fix things. Those are just some examples. Informing tells people what to do. Equipping shows people how to live, or I would say, how to do it. And that's, when we look at it, sometimes we may go through the motion of life. Just just having these conversations, I can recall, man, hundreds of conversations I've had with my own children,
Hmm.
you know, as they're coming up in age. And even to this day, to some degree, my adult children. I have two adult children that currently lives with us, my daughter and her husband, and our youngest son. And it's from the perspective of them they have transitioned from being teenagers to now they're young adults.
Yeah.
And as a father, I'm still fathering
Hmm.
to some degree. I
That
don't
that never
believe
stops.
it never
No.
stops. You know, now that's not everybody's story
Yeah,
because
that's true.
some children, adult children, do not have those types of relationships with their fathers.
Hmm.
It's like now they're up there on their own, they're doing their own thing, where sometimes the father cannot speak into their life. Sometimes their father can't say anything. Or maybe their father wasn't that guy. And maybe he just didn't know or didn't do it then.
Yeah.
And now they're learning on their own of what's to do. But I can recall so many conversations of just informing them, okay, telling them to do this, telling them to do that, until I really learned that I really had to show them
Hmm.
because they may not understand what I'm sharing. And that's sometimes how we can get that confused. Well, I told them what to do. I told them they had to do this, but did we really show them?
Yeah.
Or better yet, are we providing an example?
Hmm.
Are we doing it ourselves?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the best teacher
Yes.
is leading by example
Yeah.
in any situation. You can talk a good talk, but are you walking the walk?
Correct. Correct.
So our next thing is let's paint a picture, right?
Hmm.
So a father would say, or is trying to inform his son, you need to be better with your money. You need to take care of your money. That only goes so far. Pretty much
Exactly. Yeah.
it lands on deaf ears.
Yes.
It's like goes in one ear, comes out the other. But and I've done this with my kids. When you sit there and you actually teach them about money and how it works and how the economy works, then it's a different mindset that you put into them.
Correct.
You're
Correct.
creating them to be good stewards of their money.
Yes.
Because one example I told my son, I said when he started working,
Hmm.
and he's very good with money, by the way. But I was like, okay, so example, you make $10 an hour, right?
Hmm.
And you want these shoes, they're $200,
Right.
right? So how many hours do you got to work
Hmm.
to get those shoes?
That's a good. That's a
You
good
know,
way. Yeah. That's a good
once you
one.
put in that perspective, they're like,
Yes.
oh, you know what? I don't think I need those kind of shoes anymore.
That's
That's
good. That's very
that's
good.
20 hours you have to work. It's half a week just for them shoes.
But
You
but I
know.
think that's it, like you said, that really is painting the picture because they don't understand that.
Mm-mm.
All they know is that we go to the grocery store, different stores, we buy it as parents. They can't equate how we arrive there,
Yeah.
how we earn the money, and how we spend it,
Hmm.
not only on those things, but on every other aspect of living.
Yeah.
And now they're working, it's like, I don't know about that now, so but that helps
Yeah.
and that's teaching.
Yeah.
You inform, now you're equipping.
Exactly. So in the equipping father it says, come, come on, son, let's sit down. We're gonna put this on paper. That way you can see it. It's in front of your eyes.
Correct. Correct.
So you put out. Okay, you make X amount of money in a month. What are your bills? All
Hmm.
right, let's look at your bank statement. And you have to break it down this way. I know it's a little tedious sometimes, but in order for them to learn, instead of just saying you got to be good with your money, you got to break it down. Okay,
Of course.
you have your car insurance, you have your phone bill, you have gas you got to pay, you have your maintenance on the car,
Correct.
oil changes, uh, tires if you need new tires. You got to put all that into consideration.
You do.
You
You
know,
do.
so you have to break it down into categories and say, okay, how much you have at the end of the month? Okay, so you have a couple $100. Okay, what are we
Hmm.
gonna do with that? Are we gonna save
Right.
it, or are you gonna go buy what you want?
Got it.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yes. And
Um,
those things are valuable to be able to point out.
mhm.
Yep.
So um, we teach them as we go also, and
True.
once they learn that, Okay, and same thing with one of my sons. He went out. He was making some money at work. His girlfriend was making money, and like, hey, we can do this. So they went out.
Mm-hmm.
They told us, hey, Dad, we're gonna go look at some apartments.
Okay,
Hey,
okay,
God
okay.
be with you.
Right. Yeah.
Came back, later on that day, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna stay home a little while longer.
So reality
Yeah,
kicked right
yeah,
on in, man.
yeah. So, but that goes back because we've taught him with the little things. So
Hmm.
he's like, man, we make this much a month.
Hmm.
Rent by itself is going to take 25%, if not more, of our checks.
Correct. Yeah.
And then if we try to even budget for going out on the weekends or something like that, it's going to be very very tight. So when you break it down and you show them how it's done, and because numbers don't lie.
Correct.
that's
Yeah.
that's one of the old sayings. Numbers don't lie. So when you put it there and you start subtracting, you're like, man, my my monthly check's going going.
It's not going as far as I thought it could go.
Exactly.
And that's something, man.
Exactly.
Just what you were saying that one gives advice, the
Yeah.
other builds capacity or
Absolutely.
capability.
Hmm.
Builds capability, capability to be able to do those things. And here's another one. Here's another example. An informing father says, "Don't let anyone disrespect you." I think I've said that so many times,
Yeah.
growing up raising my children.
Hmm.
An equipping father says, "Let me show you how to handle conflict without losing control.
Mm.
Let me show you when to walk away
That's a big one right
and
there.
when to stand firm.
Yeah.
Let me show you how to talk to people when you're angry." That's equipping.
Hmm.
You know, because my upbringing in the neighborhood in which I live in, it's like that's what we heard. Then inform me. Don't let anybody talk about you.
Hmm.
Don't let anybody just say anything to you. If somebody do this, you need to do that.
Yeah.
Versus no, you know what? If someone calls you out your name, this is how you handle that. If you're in a situation where things seems to be very uncomfortable for you,
Hmm.
in this moment, you probably need to walk away. Or just because someone cuss you out, that doesn't mean you cuss them out.
Hmm.
And being able to give certain scenarios and situations, and I would say for the most part, our children came to us at different phases and times of their lives where they may present something, where this happened at school, or I heard this, I heard that. And, being a parent of wanting to be a mature parent says, okay, this is how you would handle someone like that,
Yeah.
you know. And if you are a parent and you are currently raising children, or you have raised children, you can definitely connect to what we're saying.
Hmm.
Or maybe you are a young parent and your children are bringing situations up to you and you're not sure how to handle it. Or you may have just been that informing parent versus that equipping parent.
Yeah.
It causes us to take a step back for just a moment and says, okay, this is a teaching moment. This is a moment where I can really equip my child for a situation that they're in or one that they might be in. Or maybe this is another parent to another parent. And now you equip them. And I believe it's important for us to be able to do that even as adults.
Hmm.
Now we did kind of speak from the father perspective, but even as a person, you know, we should, because there's information around us constantly.
Oh yeah.
We can go on any social media platform and we hear about people sharing about how successful they are or whether they did something a particular way,
Hmm.
but they may not give you the steps and how they did it.
No. Or you got to pay for
Or you have to pay for it.
it.
So, in other words,
Yeah.
they are in some ways just informing,
Yeah.
but they're not equipping.
Yeah.
But there
True.
are some videos that does both.
Hmm.
They inform you, of a. I will use this for an example, like a project.
Okay.
I'm kind of into this woodworking thing right now, so I find myself looking at a lot of videos of what I would like,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll show you how to do it
Mm-hmm.
step by step. That's that's equipping.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to do likewise with our children and others that come around us. It's like, no, I just don't want to tell you how to do it. I want to show you how to do
Yeah.
it. And that's we want to transition from informing to equipping. That's equipping.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, parents nowadays don't know how to do that, especially when it comes to their kids and the confrontational part.
Right.
They make it seem so easy. Oh yeah, if someone disrespects you, you knock some teeth out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna feel good about yourself for a little bit, but it's not gonna feel good when you're suspended and you can't go to the school no more,
Correct.
and you miss out on all your friends, and you know
So true.
it could be a life altering decision whether you know what, you brush them off or you beat them up.
Correct.
There's
Yeah.
two roads, you know.
Yes.
Choose a higher road. That's the best example we can tell you, or
Yes.
best
So true.
choose the higher road. Yeah, it some guys may say, "Oh, that's being a punk or whatnot." Like, no, man. I'm too old. Well, for me, I'm too old. My gladiator days are over with. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
my goodness,
So,
man.
uh, and you just gotta tell your kids, look, man, just man, just let them talk. Talking doesn't do anything. You know.
Cause you, man, look, you can think about your time of growing up and my
Hmm.
time. How many times situations like that escalated
Yeah.
to where there were fights,
Yeah.
somebody getting hurt, somebody even losing their lives,
There's too
or
much
going to
going on.
jail.
Yeah.
I've seen that so many times, man. It's like, oh, you gonna let them talk to you like that?
Hmm.
And here we go, you fighting.
Yeah.
Or meet you after school, or you playing basketball and you get fouled. Man, you gonna let them foul you like that?
Yeah.
Maybe it was an accident,
Yeah.
but now it has escalated well beyond where it should have been. But this is where we are able to equip those around us.
Hmm.
He says, you know what? Not everything has to be an altercation.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be a shouting match. You don't have to disrespect someone because they disrespected you. No, like you said, take the higher road.
Especially nowadays, these young guys they're too quick to pull out a gun.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Back in the days is, hey, you lost, you lost. I lost.
right. Yeah.
That's it. And hey, we had a good fight. We duked it out. That's it. But now it's like you lose.
Yeah,
He's gonna be after you for
yeah.
unfortunately, and it's not worth it.
No,
It's not worth it. A parent loses a kid because someone said something stupid. That it affects more people than just that kid.
it does. Correct. Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
So here's the truth. A lot of men grow up informed but not equipped. A lot of men are told, you know, be a man, provide, take care of your family, don't cry, be
Hmm.
strong. And yes, those are good characters to go by. I'm not saying not to. Yeah, those are very good. You have to take care of your family.
True.
You got in order to take care of your family, you have to be a man.
Correct.
You have to be able to provide. That's part of it. Not
True. Yeah.
not just having kids. That doesn't make you a dad. I mean, that
Yes.
does. Hold on, it makes you a dad, but not a father, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And the don't cry part, well, each their own. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Take it how you want to take it. You don't want to cry, hey, and be strong. Yes, like I said, these are true words. You do have to. A lot of times, you do have to be strong for your family,
You do.
especially if you're going through hardship and uh, financial situations and whatever pops up. You have
Hmm.
to be strong for your family.
Definitely.
But no one's ever taught how to do these. No one's how to communicate. No one is ever taught how to process their emotions.
That's a
One
big one for men.
that's one big thing. We tend to bundle up all these emotions and then let them off on the wrong person, and
True. Yeah.
that's where it comes back to, hey, oh, he told me whatever, and you have all these emotions bottled up,
Mhm.
and you don't know how to process them. Well, you're gonna process them on this guy. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah.
So,
True.
and no one's taught them, how to lead a family, how to build a marriage. Those those are tough deals. Also, marriage is a lot of work.
It
It's
is a
not
work.
just. It's
That's
just.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying. It's not just. Oh, I love you every day. Like that tends to fade. But you got to keep that spark going.
It does.
That
It
flame.
does. It does.
No one's taught how to discipline someone. That I know I spoke on briefly on another episode, um, on how to discipline your kids.
Right.
Um, with my first son, you know, it was when it was time for discipline, it was more out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and neither one of us really learned anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
he hurt for a little while physically because of the whooping, but it sometimes he'll go do the same thing the next day.
right. Yeah.
But when I came to the realization, okay, this isn't working. Let me change up my strategy,
Correct.
and I processed my emotions. I put up my anger to the side, and I said, "Son, I love you, but I have to discipline you. This is why
Yes.
I got to discipline you." And you know how they say it's gonna hurt me more than it hurts you. It
Yeah.
did at that
Right.
moment
Right.
because
Right.
you're not mad, you're not angry at them, but you still have to whoop them, so they can
Correct.
learn. And when I did, I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to do this anymore, but I
Mm-hmm.
have to."
Yes. Yeah.
That's when I noticed everything shifted. And he even realized, like, okay, he's doing this out of love. Yeah, it might not seem like it because he got a belt to my butt, but you know what I'm saying? He's doing that out of love.
That's
And,
true.
and, and,
True.
and try that, just trust me, that's going to be one of the hardest things you do because
Yes.
you're not angry anymore. You put your anger aside and you still go in there and you have to discipline your kid. And you'll see the results. I can
Right.
guarantee you that.
And there's so much to that, Jay. It's like how to lead spiritually.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
it's not about just getting up Sunday morning, going to the church, hear the message, do what you do at church, and come home and done. No,
Yeah.
it's how do I lead my household? How do I lead as a godly man?
Hmm.
What spiritual boundaries do I put in place in my home? You know, am I praying with my family? Am I praying for my family? Am I washing my wife with the word? Are we talking about the things of God? Do I understand the spiritual climate of my home? You know, what am I letting into my home?
Hmm.
Versus protecting it from. So there are so many aspects about us being as men and fathers in leading. You mentioned one, build a marriage. It's just not about saying I do.
No.
It goes so much further than that.
Hmm.
Marriage is, man, it's a relationship that you evolve over time. This coming year, 34 years for my wife and I. It's like, man,
Wow.
where did that time go? You know,
Yeah.
4 children, 7 grandchildren. Man, what,
Blessed.
you know, I am grateful, but it was a journey. What you see at 34, you wouldn't have seen year one,
Hmm.
year five, year 10,
True.
year 20. You see, we
Yeah.
evolve over time, and as in a marriage, is both spouses dying to themselves daily,
Hmm.
because it's always about compromising in some ways. Not a bad compromising. I'm just meaning having to give up a little bit of ourselves for someone else.
Hmm.
And then when you start bringing children into the picture, now your sacrifice and your compromise is even greater because now your responsibility is to those little ones.
Yeah.
So that it can go, there's so many topics just from what we just mentioned that we can really draw from.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely have to have others in our lives that's going to help equip us to be the fathers, to be the husbands that we need to be.
Yeah. So true. And it also goes on to, we spoke on it briefly right now, how to manage money. If you don't know how to manage money, you're not gonna be able to teach your kids how to manage money. You
Yes,
know, you'll have to learn yourself, or take it, put your pride aside, and say your oldest son is learning, or he's going to college for something like that.
yeah,
You know, he's going to be an accountant, or he's going to be in the financial world, as far as like AR, or accounts receivable in
hmm,
accounting.
yes,
Take some advice from him. You
definitely,
know,
definitely, definitely.
that you have sometimes you have to put that pride aside and be like, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay, well, teach me how to do that. You know, if you're in that situation, but that's to manage money is not just to teaching. It's for the marriage, because a lot of times mismanaging money leads to strife in the marriage.
it
Leads to
does.
oh man, I shouldn't have bought that. Now we don't have enough for the bills, or we don't have enough for this and that. But that's just going back. If you weren't taught, you can't teach.
That's
You
so
know.
true. That's so true, man. The two one of the two top areas that affects a marriage is intimacy and money.
Money. Yeah.
It's like man, that lets us know for those who are thinking about getting married or who already is married,
Mm-hmm.
those might be one or two issues that you might be currently dealing with.
Yeah.
And it's okay, how do I manage my finances well? How do my partner and I, your wife and husband, how do we manage the intimacy aspect? What
Mm-hmm.
does that really looks like? And that's where being equipped helps you. And I'm not saying I'm an expert
Mm-hmm.
because I definitely didn't start that way. I've learned it over time.
Absolutely.
I've learned it over time just connecting with other couples.
Mm-hmm.
And I can recall a period of time we were part of this marriage ministry where we would come together once a month. And we had couples at various stages of their life, of their marriage. And I'm gleaning from them. I'm hearing what they're saying. That's interesting. We
Mm-hmm.
might need to probably start doing that. Or we might need to really, okay, we need to stop doing that. You know. What I'm saying is
Yeah.
having other people around you that are almost in the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're a father, you might want to hang around with other fathers and kind of figure out, okay, what's going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, other husbands, married couples, we can learn from each other in just real life. It doesn't really cause us, you don't always have to go sign up for a class. You may not have to go buy a book. Sometimes it's just maybe going to movies, going to dinner with other people, and
Yeah.
you can learn a lot. And
Oh.
through that, you could be indirectly equipped
Yeah.
just to navigate life.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
it's not that difficult. And when we think about men, sometimes, man, we have men trying to leave families with no training,
Mm.
just pressure,
Yeah.
pressure to be the man, to be that provider, bring home the money. But there's so many other elements to being a man, to being a husband, to be a father that we might just be missing.
Yeah.
And here we go. Many men are failing not because they're lazy or don't care, but because nobody equipped them.
Mm-hmm.
They were expected to lead without being trained to lead. Imagine hiring someone for a job, giving them a title, and never training them, then getting mad when they struggle. That's what's happening to a lot of men today.
Wow. That's a
We
good Good point of view. Good way to see it. You
Yeah.
know.
How many how many of us as men been has been a dad, but we don't know how to father?
Mm.
We don't maybe we didn't have that in our own life.
Yeah.
So we don't know how to be that true father.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through life doing what was done to us,
Yeah.
leading blindly. And we wonder
Yeah.
why our children is acting the way they act is because it's how they were raised.
Yeah.
So I believe it's just so important for us to just we used to use this business when I was working for lens crafters. This one young lady, she says we have to learn how to slow down and speed up. And I didn't understand the initial concept of what she was sharing.
Interesting.
She says sometimes we're trying to do so much so quickly. Sometimes we need to slow down enough to learn and understand what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get a concept of what you're doing and knowing how to do it, now you can speed up.
Yeah. That makes
And
a lot
so,
of
even as
sense.
a husband, a father, whoever that might be, whoever we are trying to be, let us slow down enough to understand where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And once we get equipped, now we can move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once again, fathering and teaching and equipping, that doesn't stop. Even if you have older sons and they have kids already, so you're a grandfather, right?
Yes,
Eventually your kids are going to be grandparents.
that's true.
you know you got to equip them for that.
Exactly. You made a good
So
point there. You made a good point.
it doesn't stop. It doesn't
It
stop until
doesn't stop.
until you're in 6 feet under. Even then, if you taught them right, uh, it continues. Your legacy continues.
It
You
does.
know,
It does. It
so
does.
it's man, it's crucial to teach and just not just say. It's just like you said. That was a very good example of getting a job. You hire someone and say, okay, go do it.
Yes.
Like go do what? What I'm
Exactly.
saying. And they might go and learn from someone that doesn't know how to. And the same thing in fatherhood. You're going to learn, but what are the fruits of their labor? That's one thing that I've always taught my kids is like, okay, if you're going to learn from someone, see what they've accomplished,
Hmm.
see if they have you know outstanding record. Yeah, that might be someone credible that
Correct.
you
Yeah.
can look under. But hey, if you straight out of jail and living at his mom and got nothing to
Yeah.
his name, that's not someone you want to you
That's true.
know take some advice from.
That's true. And I go back to the little scenario that we use hiring someone. I think back to some of the individuals that I hired when I was working at Lens Crafters.
Hmm.
They had a very good training program. But one thing where they fell short, they didn't always give us enough time to train people adequately. You know, it's like you had a dual responsibility. You train others while also helping customers at the same time.
Yeah.
So it pulls you away from being able to equip them like you really would want to.
Hmm.
And so now, when you get to a time where it's time to release them to do some of the duties, there were some gaps in that training
Absolutely.
that they missed
Yeah.
because the training was not as effective.
Hmm.
And I've seen that over time and time again. And that means I have to go back and retrain them on some things. Or when they fell short on something, I remember we didn't really go over that one like we
Yeah.
should have. And
Hmm.
so and that we can pertain that to life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to sit down at the table and really have those heart to hearts, those one on ones, and ask the tough questions. The tough questions is not to make someone feel less than who they are, but to have a better understanding of where they are
Yeah.
and to get forward. And so I've had those in my journey of life. I didn't always like them, but I like what came from them.
Hmm.
And so, that's sometimes we as parents we might fail to do because we don't want our children to get upset with us. so we won't have that conversation. And so I think we have to have hard conversations at times
Oh,
in
absolutely.
order to become a better individual.
Yeah, and
And
once again, it's not about nagging and oh man, you're always on my case, and this and that. Is like no, it's we're holding you accountable. You're a young adult already. You have to have some kind of accountability,
you do, yeah.
and that's what these hard talks are about. So, okay, where are you at financially? Okay, how much have you saved up? Did you put this into the right interest portfolio or whatnot?
Yes.
Okay, well, what are your 5-year plans? Is this something we can help you out? You don't know that a lot of times they ever change their plan 6 or 7 times. You're like, wait, we talk,
Right.
and if you don't have a communication with them, last time you talked to them, had a sit down was 6 months ago. They've already moved on.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, and yeah, a lot of I see a lot of movies and people where I brought you this thing. They're like, oh yeah, I like that, but when I was 12, what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, we want to see our kids in that way, and it's going off track. But
Yeah.
to bring it back, if you had that communication with their like, okay, well, what do you like now? Well, what are your interests?
True.
Your
True.
interests
That's
now. So,
good.
like, what are you building for? Is there something I can help you out with? As far as okay, you have a business idea. Okay, well, let's sit down. Let's talk about it.
Hmm.
Let's budget. Let's see if it's capable of doing it. What's your credit score looking like?
True. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Here are some signs. Signs you are informing, not equipping,
Mm.
for fathers and for leaders. And leaders mean you can lead. That could be in your own business. That can be on your job. That could be
Mhm.
within the community. And leaders doesn't necessarily mean just men. That could be women as well. You might be informing and not equipping when your kids don't know how to do basic life skills.
Mm.
Your employees always come back to you for answers.
Yeah.
Nobody can run things without you. You give advice, but don't demonstrate. You correct mistakes, but don't teach processes. You solve problems instead of teaching problem solving. You talk more than you demonstrate.
Mhm.
People depend on you instead of developing under you. If everything depends on you, you didn't equip. You created dependency.
Mm.
And so, man, when we just look at our lives, just look at our lives right now. Look at where we've been. There have been moments where we were just informing. At some point along the way, we realized I need to take it up another notch. And then we transition into equipping.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, I'll give you here. This is a real life story. If my son happened to see this, or my family happened to see this, but this is a real life story. I have a
I can cut it out if we need
we should be good. But
to.
here's the thing, you know,
Mhm.
my adult children, they pay rent to us. My son started a new job a few weeks ago, and obviously, sometimes
Yeah.
they have to hold pay for a little bit to get you back onto a good pay cycle.
Yeah.
So I changed his rent date from one time to the next, and that date has passed. And if it passes a certain date, there comes a late fee.
Oh.
And so my wife said, "You charge him a late fee?" I said, "Why not?"
Yeah. The
I
real
said,
world would.
the real would the real world would. I said he has a
Mhm.
car note right, but let him be late.
Mhm.
He gonna get it. And see if he had his own apartment and he was late, he have a late fee. I
Mhm.
said, so why do I have to treat him any different?
Yeah.
This is real world.
Yeah.
So if he's not learning this at home, when he get out to the real world, he may be in for a surprise.
A rude awakening,
So
boy.
so I says he has to learn some things.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's never lived on his own, and when that time comes, my job, even though he is of age, is for him to be equipped as best as possible.
Absolutely.
That's a real life situation.
Yeah.
That just a conversation we just had yesterday.
Mhm.
So we have to do more than just talk about things, we have to demonstrate. And I'm gonna shift just a little bit.
Sure.
When we talk about leaders,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things, even in the Christian community that I've experienced and others we've talked about this over the years, is sometimes in Christian communities, when we speak about the church, lots of times we are just preaching a message. We're sharing with people this is what you should do
Yeah.
from that perspective. But there are not many moments when we are showing them how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
when we're demonstrating how to do it. When I think about when I was in the military, I went to basic training. After I finished the physical aspect, now we had to go to our advanced individual training where we had to learn our jobs. The drill sergeant will demonstrate to us this is how you operate this piece of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
First, they 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 show us, and I'll give this model. I'll go to the model. The model says the equipping process. I do, you watch.
Mm-hmm.
I do, you help. You do, I help. You do, I watch. You teach someone else. So I'm gonna go back to that conversation.
Yeah.
They were giving us an example. It says, I'm gonna do it, now I want you to watch me. Once they gave that concept, now they invited us into it. Okay, now I'm gonna do, but I want you to help me do it.
Yeah.
Then it went for, okay, now that you learn how to do it on your own, you're gonna do it, and now I'm gonna help you as I see you need help.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to just watch you do it. As your skills develop, I'm going to watch you do it. Oh, I see that you've done it. You're good. Now go teach someone else.
Yeah.
Coming from the church perspective again, a lot of times they did, we watched. They
Yeah.
did, we might help, but usually that's the furthest it will go.
Yeah.
It was now Marlo, it's your turn. Now you see me do it, you help me do it. Now I want you to do it, and I'm going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I come from the perspective of this. When Jesus taught his disciples, he commanded them to do everything that he taught them.
Yeah.
So he was their example. He modeled it before them, and he even sent them out to do it. And then when it's time for him to leave, he says, now it's your turn. You teach everyone else that you encounter to do the same thing.
And greater things.
In greater things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a process to where we are giving, we're not just telling people what to do. We're showing them what to do. And we're bringing them into our space and showing them how to do it and helping them along the way. And when we see that they're doing good at it, now you go out
Yeah.
and you teach somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's that process is just repeating itself over and over again. And I think that's important for us to do no matter what circle of space we're in our homes, when you're out there doing your business with your partners,
Yeah.
when the community, and as we plan to do this brotherhood thing, we'll have another opportunity
Absolutely.
to be able to not only share information, but we'll be able to equip others,
Mm-hmm.
one another, to be able to do maybe something that we once did.
Yeah.
And that cycle just continues to repeat itself.
Absolutely. Oh man, I just had a good point. I just went, I went
That's all
blank.
right.
Oh, so another thing in a good leader, and one thing they always taught us the same thing is you have to teach everyone as if say you weren't there. If the
Yeah.
store would be running the way you were if you weren't there, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you go on vacation, you take your week vacation or 2 weeks, whatever. It still has to operate as you weren't as if you were still there.
Of
You
course.
know.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that's being a good leader because if not, if the store goes to downhill once you go once you leave for a day or two, then you haven't done your job.
That's so true.
And,
That's
and
so
another
true.
part is you have to understand people's their strengths and weaknesses, and I think this is really important because some people are going to be just very talented at one thing and then not talented at something else. So if you're in retail or something, and someone is just having trouble or is very introvert and
Hmm.
cannot see people eye to eye or can't talk to people eye to eye, yeah, I guess you can give them a shot as being
Hmm.
customer service, but that's it's going to be miserable for them because
Yes,
they're not going to do it, and
of
it's going to
course.
be poor customer service. So you have to be the leader and be like, you know what, let me find something else for you to
True.
do,
Yeah.
and you might be like, okay, let's try this, or teach them that, and they might be great at it,
So, yep.
because they don't have
Exactly.
to talk to no one. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
so that's part of being it also. And then you got to train them in that aspect, and then you teach them, okay, this is how it's done. Uh, But if you've trained other people under you instead of just telling them,
Hmm.
you'll have that time to be one on one with someone. You
That is
know,
so true, man.
because just like you said, a lens crafter, you're teaching, you're still trying to help.
Hmm.
Okay, let me take care of this situation, but hey, help him out real quick. But she's
Yes.
gonna be in good hands because you've taught this one. You
Exactly.
know.
That's so true. That's so true. I share this one story. When I was at Lens Crafters, my boss was in Denver and I was in Colorado Springs, and
Mm-hmm.
he didn't get to Colorado Springs that often.
Okay.
And everything was done, through the computer. He can pull up the statistics of our store
Yeah.
performance, and he says, "Marlo, I can look at your business week after week, and I can tell you the days you were off.
Mm. Why? No, numbers don't
It,
lie.
the numbers don't lie." And this was a teaching moment for me.
Yeah.
He says, "It is good that when you are there, you are performing to expectations." But
Mm-hmm.
he says the biggest thing is when you're not there.
Mm.
We want to be able to keep that same consistency. So
Yeah.
he says, whatever it is that you're doing while you're there, you need to teach the next person up that you're leaving in charge
Mm-hmm.
to not only duplicate what you're doing, but better.
Absolutely.
And so that was the aspect of, well, now I had to go back and look at, okay, who was leading when I was not there.
Mm.
So I had to go say, okay, let me pull that person to the side, and I made an appointment. I made it an appointment to make sure that they work with me as often as possible,
Yeah.
so I can show them what I was doing. Because I could have just informed them and says, you know what? Well, my supervisor says that you need to get these numbers like I get them when I'm not here,
Mm-hmm.
and leave it there. That wasn't going to change anything,
No.
because certain behaviors had to change in order to get there.
Yeah.
So I have to show, okay, this is what I do when I'm here. I want you to be able to just watch me, just like that little scenario that we said
Mm-hmm.
earlier.
Yeah.
Watch. What was that scenario? It says, okay, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I want you to watch.
Absolutely.
So I had to use this concept. Okay, you watch me, see how I'm navigating the floor. I'm not helping customers, but I'm touching every customer that's in the store.
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking on how they're doing. I'm listening to the interactions to a customer with an associate. I'm answering the phones. I'm pointing people in directions. I'm observing. That's one of the things that you can do to make sure that you can help lead and guide. But
Yeah.
that was just one behavior that I was able to share with them. And over time, it didn't happen overnight, but over time,
Yeah.
my boss said about a few months later, he says, "Marla, I was looking at your store performance. I really can't tell what days you were working and you're not there."
Yeah.
And he says, "That's what we need to see."
Yeah.
So as a leader, he pointed out the areas where there was opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
He told me exactly what needs to happen. I took that information and brought it back to my store location and followed suit. Now, the person the person that I shared when it was time for me to go out
Yeah.
on vacation, now that person was in charge. It was their responsibility to teach the person when they were not there.
Absolutely.
See how that thing just continues to cycle through
Mm-hmm.
to where, and I'll go back to this, and for some people, this can be a very sensitive subject. But when we go back to the church aspect, if the pastor wasn't there, If somebody knew that the pastor wasn't going to be there Sunday, some people ain't showing up.
That's true.
Or if the pastor wasn't there, no one knew how to lead
Mm.
when he wasn't there. So in other words, sometimes the pastor don't go on vacation, don't take time off. Why? Because nobody can do what he can do.
Yeah,
We're not training the next person
absolutely.
to be able to, not necessarily to take your responsibility, but to assume that responsibility when needed.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, when we are training someone on our jobs, that doesn't mean that they're gonna stay. Sometimes they're gonna move on.
Yeah.
But they're gonna take what they learned from you and go somewhere else and grow. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just as in the church, you might teach somebody what you're doing. That doesn't mean they're gonna stay. That means they may take what you've taught them to move on somewhere else and to build and grow from there.
Yeah.
And I share with people all the time when I was at Lynchcraft. It says, this may not be your permanent place. You may not be here 20 years like me.
Yeah.
You may be here for a short period of time and move on. But while you're here, I still have a responsibility
Absolutely.
to equip you to be the best you can be while you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you move on, guess what? You take what you've learned here to your next place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I was a part of it.
Yeah.
To help you get there.
Mm.
And I think it's we just have to have a different outlook in life when we come to equipping people. At some point, our children is going to have their own families.
Yeah.
They're not going to live under our roof anymore.
No.
They're going to have their own families. And when you look and see how they're moving, man, they were listening. I tell my kids that right now. Yeah. My oldest son, I tell them all the time, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of how you're raising your family. I'm proud of how you're taking care of your wife, how you take care of your children. I tell his spouse, I like to see how you mother and your children. I like to see how you're taking care of my son. And vice versa. My daughter and her husband in Colorado. Man, I appreciate how you're taking care of my daughter. Mm-hmm. How you're raising. Because my son-in-law in Colorado comes from a very good family. Solid family. And I can see that what he learned from his dad and his mom, it is transferring into his own household. That's equipping.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's something we all pray for, our kids, just take care of my son as I took care of him, or son, take care of your wife as I took care of my wife, your mother.
That's so true, man. That is so true. Let's see where we are, Jay. Where we are. I think we
so
real life things.
Yeah, so real life thing fathers should equip their kids in. And this, y'all can add things to this. Y'all can take away things from this if you know your kids. Not just telling them, but actually teaching them. Men should equip the next generation, their kids, their sisters' kids, which are your nephews, and so on and so forth.
Yes, definitely.
Whichever kid comes out in your path.
Yes.
One of the first ones is money and budgeting. That's it's gonna be in their life whether they like it or not.
So true.
Whether they're millionaires or not, they still got to learn how to manage them and budget the money.
For sure.
A good work ethic, and that goes with just basic. I know we spoke on this on another episode. Just what do we say? It was just make sure your appearance is up to par when you leave the house.
Of course. Know what I'm saying? Yes.
Best way I can say it.
Your dress attire, for sure.
Exactly. And that goes with work ethic. Be the best you can be while you're there at work. Conflict resolution. Yeah. You got to teach them how to handle situations, different situations at work too. If they're not managers at a point and they're employees, manager can have a bad day and say something off the wall. You got to learn how to resolve that in a good manner where you don't get
Definitely.
fired or you know
So true. Yeah.
you know.
Exactly.
Man, this one here, I think it's a big one for guys, especially because we have huge egos. How to
Hmm.
apologize?
Oh yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that I know I struggled with
Hmm.
for a little while, but what apology can go a long way, especially if it's sincere and you say just say hey I'm sorry. You know
True. Yeah.
it's as easy as that and as hard as that. If that makes any sense, you know.
It does. It does.
But
Definitely.
especially for men, it's hard to apologize. But if you one you do it yourself, you tell your wife or your significant other or even your brothers and sisters, hey, I'm sorry
Hmm.
for
True.
whatever situation. It then you teach your kids how to do that, and then so on and so forth. Um, how to forgive. That could be another challenging one, you
Can be
know.
one. That definitely can be. Can be.
You know, we tend to hold on to things, and a lot of times, you've heard it before. Is you forgive for you, not for them.
Right.
You
Right.
know
Right.
how to change a tire. That yes, that goes back to you watch me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do it, and then it goes, okay, I'm gonna watch you. That
Correct.
that's one of the basic things in the car, and I think every guy should do it, learn how to do it. My kids know how to do it already. My 16-year-old knows how to do that,
Yeah.
and the same thing, but it had to be taught. It's
It
not like,
had to be
hey,
taught.
go
Yes.
out there and do it,
Correct.
and get hurt or something.
Yeah.
So you have to do it and do it the right way. Um, how to fix basic things. Um, how to cook basic meals.
Yeah.
That's a good one too because they might be ready to move out. And they don't have a spouse yet.
True.
They
Yeah.
might, you know what, I'm ready to go on my own, and eventually they'll find their significant other, but they need to learn how to cook. You know, basic meals. Yeah. And then eventually, then how to treat women or vice versa. How to treat a man.
Correct.
That stems from the father because they're gonna see how you treat your wife, and
Correct.
they're gonna take that into their relationship,
Yeah.
how they treat their
Yeah.
girlfriend at the
So true,
time,
man. So
and
true.
and also the way you treat your daughter and show her how a man should treat her. That's what she's
Correct.
gonna expect
Right. Right.
whenever she looking comes of age and is ready to start dating or what she's gonna expect. Hey, my dad treated me this way. I expect nothing less.
So true, man.
Anything less, I don't need it because my dad treated me like a princess. I need my man to treat me like a queen.
Yeah.
You know,
So true, man.
um, how to make decisions. That, in my opinion, you leave it to the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit. You know what?
Hmm.
How, I can tell you how to make decisions, or I can guide you in the right way. But at the end of the day, you got to do your own prayer. You say, hey, Lord, help me with this project, or help me make this final decision, and He'll help you out. And
True.
how to pray, how to study the
If
Bible.
if you don't mind, Jay, let me
No,
go
go
back to
ahead.
that. How to make decisions. Some of the things that I've done with my own children, and even to this day now, as young adults, is is to look at the situation that's at hand. Okay, let's look at the situation at hand.
Hmm.
Okay, you we all have a free will given any situation. You can go left, you can go right, you may have A, B, or C,
Yeah.
but being able to talk through that situation, depending on what it is, we can talk through that situation. And we says, okay, you have options. And as you equate, okay, look, let's incorporate prayer into that. For those that are believers who believe in prayer, let's incorporate prayer into that. And let's definitely pray that, the Holy Spirit will lead and guide you in making the right choice.
Yeah.
Uh, and sometimes those decisions are right there in front of you. It's like you have A and B. If you go A, this is the direction. You go B, here's the direction.
Hmm.
Sometimes the Lord will give us wisdom to where it's okay. This is a wise choice. I'm gonna go with that one. This is
Yeah.
not so of a wise choice. So I'm not going to go with that one. So some decisions have to be made in a moment, and some decisions you have a little grace time in which you have to decide. So I would incorporate holistically. Let's look at it. Let's unpack it. Let's figure out what's the best. Let's pray. Let's make the right choice. Based on maybe if there's some peace settle in yourself and says, you know what, I really feel led to go one way or the other.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you want to make the best decision that's for you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to just speak on that make decision piece just a few moments. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Good points. Um, the last two. This one here is how to handle failure. Man, that I think that stems from going out every day, uh, and then all these new deals with like if you have your kids in some sort of sports, and everyone gets an award, everyone gets a participation award. You know,
you.
they don't learn failure. You know what I'm saying? They don't
Correct.
learn.
Yeah.
Okay, why did you fail? Okay, let's look back. Why is it that you lost this game?
Correct.
Okay, it's not like, oh yeah, you lost. Like, here's a reward. You
Right.
like,
Yeah.
you participated. Like, no, you lost. You don't get reward. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that to me that's just one of the dumbest things that I've heard of, and it's not teaching them real life situations.
Yeah. Exactly. Real life. That's for sure.
It's not teaching them. Okay, why did we lose? Let's reflect. Okay, because you didn't practice and you didn't do what I told you to do.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they just go off the wall like I'm no good, and it just escalates from there.
It can, man.
Mm-hmm.
I try, even growing up. Once again, I go back to some of my childhood experiences. You know, sharing with them, hey, you're going to fail at some things in life.
Yeah.
It's a given.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to pass every test that you take in school.
No.
You're not going to make every team you try to get on.
Yeah.
You're not going to win every game. You know, that's just a part of it. But it's what we do when we do fall short. How do we look at it? Okay, you didn't score what you wanted on the test. To me, what that means, you might need to study a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, let's find out where you did wrong. Let's see if we can get you some support, some help, and let's go back and take the test again if you can.
Yeah. Let's analyze
Anything.
this. Yeah.
That's like me when I took my first driver's test at 16 years old. My father took me out. He practiced with me. I had an older cousin, took me out, practiced with me. I knew everything. Ran right through a stop sign. Okay, I failed.
Yeah.
Believe me, I wanted my license that day, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
They said, okay, Marlon, we'll see you back in 30 days. You can take it again. I was disappointed.
Yeah.
They didn't just, okay, we're going to pass you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Trying.
I had to learn.
Yeah.
I had to learn that driving is a responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm not going to give you a pass. You come back in 30 days. You're going to sit on that for 30 days and realize, I need to be more careful when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
That's life.
Yeah.
It happens. But handling failure is just as important in how we handle success.
Yeah.
Because as long as we're successful, we're winning the games, we're closing deals, we're making money, we're happy, we're excited. But when we fail, we're disappointed and deflated. No, I think every failure is a lesson.
Absolutely.
Every failure is a lesson. Every loss is a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of jumped in on that.
No. That you make very good points. And you learn from your mistakes. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully,
Some people
hopefully.
do, some people don't. They continue and they're like, man, 10 years down the line, you're doing the same thing.
Correct.
And that's because they weren't taught that,
Yeah.
hey, that's not right.
That's not right.
You
So
know.
true, man. That is so true.
So information, it builds smart people. Yeah, granted, you can read a book, you can read the paper. I don't know if any people are reading papers anymore nowadays,
I know.
But yeah, quote unquote, you'll be smart. But equipping, it builds capable people,
Good.
and capable people, they build strong families and strong communities. So what that's saying is, you don't just leave it in your four walls at home.
Correct.
You,
Yeah. So
you
true.
know, because your kids, whether you like it or not, they're going to be a reflection of you. You know what
They
I'm saying?
are. They are.
And you go out in public, people are going to they're going to see that,
They are. Yeah.
and if they're well behaved, respectful to their elders, whatnot, open doors for the women when they're walking in, you're walking into the store. Hey, you got some good training at home,
For sure.
but they're just acting rowdy and climbing all over the place and just breaking things. I'm like, you know what? More than likely, they're like that at home too. You know?
Exactly, man. And how many times you've seen it, and you may have experienced it on your own, where you bring your child out to an event or to
Hmm.
someone's house, and they'll just blurt out maybe profanity or something, and they looking at the child, then they look at you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they get to your house and they
Mm.
jumping on the sofa, they running all upstairs.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get your child?
Yeah.
Because once again, that might be allowed at home,
Yeah.
but that's not allowed everywhere
No.
else. And you said that's going to be a reflection of their environment or their upbringing,
Hmm.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
So here's the question for every man listening, every leader listening. Are you informing the people around you, or are you equipping the people around you?
Mhm.
Two different questions. Are your children prepared for life? Are the people you are leading growing or just listening? If you disappear tomorrow, could things still run? Because real leaders is not measured by how many people follow you. It's measured by how many people can stand without you.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I share this with my children. I keep saying children, but they're young adults. I I don't want them to feel that they need me in their life, but they want me in their life.
Yeah.
That's two different
Oh,
things.
absolutely.
That's two different things. Because they are of age where they don't have to have me in their life at all. But I would rather them say, Dad, I want you in my life.
Hmm.
Not because of what I can do for them, but maybe because of who I am to them.
Yeah.
We was I'll give you this one little quick little story here. We were at this is our home. Once again, I shared this before. As a family, sometimes right over dinner or while we eating dinner, I would usually, well, how's everyone doing? How things are going? What are you struggling with? What are you working on?
Yeah.
How's your prayer life? I'll just share something to that degree. And then my daughter mentioned, she says, you know, for her, it's the norm. She's used to us coming together doing this. But for her husband, he says, I'm not used to this. I didn't have that growing up.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that you all have talked about growing up, I never had that opportunity to do with my own family.
Hmm.
Things might come up here and there. We'll talk about it, but I didn't have that. And so, once again, I believe my wife and I were equipping our children along the way,
Yeah.
a journey for it not to always be based on being reactive, but being proactive in as many ways as possible.
Hmm.
And so the question is, we go back, are people being changed because of you? Are they just following you because, or are they just listening? I want at least for my children to take what they've learned from my wife and I and bring that into their own family dynamics and the friends and the people they connect with, that they'll have an opportunity to share that with them as well.
Yeah.
So where we see that thing that will continue. And we may never know what those things were, but it just comes out naturally
Mm-hmm.
in their situations in those moments.
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are some pretty heavy questions you brought on.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, but it's real life. I mean, these are some serious questions, guys, that you have to ask yourself. Again, are you informing the people around you? Are you informing them? Or are you equipping them?
right, right.
Oh, yeah. Are your kids prepared for life? Man, that there I see too many times. They're not. They're young adults and their dad wasn't around. Mom had to work, so you can say they were equipped for life, but what kind of life are they going to live if they've never been taught? Hey, this is the way you budget. This is the way you change a tire. This is the way you cook these eggs.
Yeah,
Without burning the house down.
exactly.
Um.
Even as leaders, think about a leader. If you're a business owner
Mm-hmm.
and you have a team of people, what if something happens to you today? Because that business continue to go. Just
Yeah.
keep in mind, if you have a team of 5 and you're earning whatever you're earning, but your business is putting food on all of your employees' table,
Mm-hmm.
and something happens to you, would they still be able to eat as a family?
Yeah.
Who can assume your responsibilities? Is it someone that works for you? Or maybe is it a family member that can take on that responsibility and keep that going?
Yeah.
Sometimes we may not look beyond that because we think we're going to be around all the time.
Yeah.
We think, that paycheck is going to be steady, that job is going to always be there, or that person is going to always have the ability or the mobility to do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But life happens to all of us.
Yeah.
And we may not always be prepared for those unforeseen situations. And so I think it's important for us to
Mm-hmm.
really, once again, slow down to understand where we are so we can yet speed up. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. So informing information, it gathers people. Equipping multiplies people, and multiplication is how families get stronger, organizations grow, churches grow, and communities change. And it's just one step at a time, one problem at a time. When
It
one problem
is.
arises, okay, let me teach you how to do it the correct way. And
And my encouragement for any that's listening, I would say start at home.
yeah.
Start at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, whether it's if you're a single mom or dad, okay, do an assessment. If you're a married couple, come together, do an assessment. Where are we really?
Yeah.
Where are we falling short in areas of our household with our children? And it goes from there, maybe it goes to your business if you're a business owner, or maybe to your job if you're employed. Then it may extend to your community. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe we have to look at where we are and says, okay, what ways I can do better?
Yeah.
What areas am I just informing, but I'm not equipping? Or am I equipping, but the ones I'm equipping, they're not learning. They're
Mm-hmm.
not taking it and growing. Do I need to pull them to the side and says, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
I've shown you, but I don't see that taking place. Tell me where the disconnect is.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that at home. You can do that in your business. You can do that on your jobs. You can do that in the community.
Yeah.
But I believe we have to multiply, as you just said. Equipping multiplies people. In multiplication is how family it gets stronger, organization grows, churches grows, and community changes.
Mhm.
Let's just look at the man or the woman in the mirror, because we have a choice to make or not make it. That's up to us.
Either way, it's a choice.
Either way, it's a
Yeah.
choice. You do nothing, you chose.
Yeah.
You do something, you chose.
Yeah. And you will reap the fruits of your labor.
Exactly. Or the labor or the lack of labor thereof.
Exactly.
So this is the Macho Ranch TOSO experience where faith, grit, and purpose come together. We'll see you next time. You take care.
See you later.